Hey everyone, I'm Dan Kaplan, Executive Editor at SC Magazine. I'm pleased to be joined by Rob Juncker, who is the VP of Technology at Shavlik. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan, for having me.
Absolutely. We were talking about virtualization. Now, this is something, a technology that we've heard about that's obviously gaining steam within organizations. Tell me, first of all, how is that trend going? Are we seeing the most organizations adopting virtualization?
We are. We've seen a trend in the industry right now where virtualization continues to become more and more mainstream. And in fact, virtualization used to be a technology that was exclusive for enterprise. However, as virtualization becomes a lot more just add water and stir, we're seeing that virtualization technology come closer and closer to an SMB.
And the benefits are cost and that sort of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Cost as well as asset maximization, where people are able to take systems, if you will, that aren't going to be consuming a full physical footprint, being able to pull them together into management. It also really allows them to have development sandbox environments that they otherwise would have to spend a decent amount of capital equipment for to manage.
Obviously, with the new technology comes the risks. That's where you guys step in. What are some of the big ones that we're seeing now? Obviously, the threats are emerging, so take us through some of the ones that are here now and that we might see coming forward.
You bet. The biggest one we're hearing about today is VM sprawl. To be honest with you, with virtualization, a lot of times it's very easy for developers and other people that are technically savvy on a network to create their own virtual instances. And those virtual instances go outside the span of IT management and don't have the same policies under management that IT wants. So in this particular case, combating VM sprawl is trying to find those machines as they become available, catalog them, and make sure that the assets are out there. Now on the second hand, the other big problem that we're also hearing around virtualization is rogue VMs. What ends up happening is people are creating these
VM being virtual machine.
Virtual machine, yes, I apologize, Dan. Yep, so these virtual machines are being created and they're being turned off. They were done for a specific point in time purpose, and they're being left off for a very long period of time. The problem that this presents itself is, one, since it wasn't created by IT, it's not getting the appropriate care and feeding that it needs during its life cycle. So as soon as that particular person might bring that virtual machine up, the next thing you know, you've got a virtual machine that's non-patched, that's non-secure, and doesn't follow IT policies, which then is a target for being able to contract malware and ultimately infect your network.
Is that a common thing?
We're seeing a lot more of it. We're seeing a lot more, especially as virtualization becomes easy to use, that people turn towards virtual instances to get them up and solve that point problem. And through that process, they get more and more neglected. And that's where agentless technology is very important to be able to discover and find those and manage them.
Another reason to secure virtualization is obviously the auditors who are coming in. They're getting better.
That's correct. Yeah, in most organizations, auditors still today don't know enough, if you will, to talk about the virtual environment that most IT environments have. And to be honest with you, for a lot of virtual environments, it's a good thing. And the reason for it is a lot of people have problems controlling them. So for compliance organizations that might be either in the government or alternatively required to do things like Gramm-Leach-Bliley or SOC or HIPAA compliance, those auditors are starting to get smarter. So there needs to be IT policies that roll out to those virtual machines that are, that just add water and stir to ensure that an IT administrator can't get hit up beside the head, if you will, by not knowing what's actually on their network.
Yeah. Let's look forward a couple of years with virtualization. I mean, we're going to see the threat landscape increase. We're obviously going to see more adoption. Organizations are going to get better at managing this stuff, but what are some of your predictions?
So we're going to continue to see virtualization take on a number of different flavors. First of all, starting within the premise of the actual company that's employing virtualization itself. At the same time, we're also seeing, if you will, private clouds occur, where people are using virtualization technology in the cloud to actually create virtual instances on things like Amazon EC2 and run full servers up there. The goal that's going to be a challenge for them is, as they continue to expand beyond a Visio diagram of their network, is being able to apply the same management principles and technologies that they have within their premise to those remote sites and remote WANs they might have to be operating on their network, and be able to bring it through and have that single pane of glass by which to manage their IT environment.
Mm-hmm. Let's close here with another emerging technology, that being mobile devices. I know that's an area of specialty for you before you came to Shavlik. That's another technology that's emerging, and it's going to have to be managed.
Yep, you bet. So mobile is definitely coming into the IT management space with a full head of steam right now. We're seeing all of our organizations, and to be honest with you, small and medium-sized businesses are more apt to adopt that technology, but we're seeing it move upstream towards the enterprise. Mobile really presents a challenge. It's the ultimate democratization of a technology where people are free to use the app stores. If you look at the 5 years ago, if I was creating an application, I'd have to build an application, submit it to Verizon Wireless, for example. They would certify it, go through all their security controls, and ultimately be deployed. Those days are gone. With Android devices, I could build an application on my laptop, deploy it to my mobile device in the App Store, literally within minutes. So to that end, IT administration is going to have to pay a lot more attention to the context as well as the paradigm of those mobile operating systems, ensuring that the corporation's data is sandboxed in a way where it can't be exposed, but at the same time embrace that mobile technology so that the end user is getting their needs out of it as well.
Yeah. So we always saw BlackBerries entering the enterprise atmosphere, but the fact is, I mean, employees, even the CEOs especially, want access to the cooler ones, the slicker ones, the iPhones, and those may not be as locked down as we might have seen with the BlackBerry.
You know, it used to just be if you had one BlackBerry, you had them all, and now with these new Android devices, they're coming out at such a clip, you can't standardize on any one device.
Yeah.
So IT is going to have to embrace a broad spectrum of operating systems as well as a broad spectrum of devices. It's going to force end users to take more responsibility for knowing how to use their devices, but it's going to really push IT to be able to manage them.
Yeah. Okay, well, as we see new technology emerge, we have to see new innovative security solutions come along as well, and I know that's what you guys are doing at Shavlik. So, Rob Juncker, VP of Technology, I appreciate you joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.